Thank you so much, Mrs. Dr. Miromandra, who is the spirit behind the GCC. We have two GCCs, the Gulf Cooperation Council and the Girl Child Concern. And to us, the Girl Child Concern is much more relevant to our cause than the so-called GCC. Your Excellency, Mrs. Erelu BC Adele Paemi, the wife of my friend, the former governor of Ekiti State, Dr. Kayode Paemi, the executive secretary of UBEC, Dr. Hamid Boboy, the country director of the World Bank, whom we met yesterday, my very good friend, my brother, Mr. Rashid Ben Masood, is more passionate about the tribals of the Northeast than even my humble self. Other eminent personalities, the proprietor of the Nile Group, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I wish to stand on established protocol, and of course our brand newly minted graduates of various secondary schools across the North. If I were to suggest that I am today overwhelmed by a strong surge of emotions that is both bitter and sweet, I'm sure that my audience at the gathering will strongly agree with me. The bitter component of my emotions is underpinned by the events of that widely known but nevertheless dreadful night of 14th April 2014 in Chibok, Borno State, when members of the satanic Boko Haram sect abducted 276 innocent schoolgirls preparing to sit for their final school examinations at Government Secondary School, Chibok. As we all know, 56 of these girls, with divine intervention, somehow managed to escape from the clutches of those deranged, bloodthirsty bunch of monsters. But the vast majority, 219 of them, were not so lucky. They were taken away, painfully and callously separated from their parents, loved ones, and communities, and for more than 2 years, subjected to the most miserable, squalid, brutish, and solitary of living conditions deep in the heart of the Sambisa forest. 106 of them have since either escaped on their own or been released through negotiations and will resume schooling in September, while the remaining 113 still remain in captivity. This, of course, is an addition to the several hundreds, if not thousands, of vulnerable Nigerian citizens, comprising of girls, boys, women, and even men, in the Northeast in general and Borno in particular, who have been abducted and placed in captivity under similarly dehumanizing conditions since the commencement of the insurgency some 7 years ago, but which have hardly attracted national, let alone global attention. The colossal loss of lives running into tens of thousands and property estimated at several billions of US dollars are also well documented, and they serve as a sad reminder of the monumental tragedy that has befallen the Northeast and its people, and Nigeria as a whole. The aforementioned sad, depressing tale notwithstanding, today is no doubt a landmark day, an auspicious day for the outpouring of joyful and sweet emotions. For seated before us in this hall are 42 of our girls from Chibok, who, as I earlier mentioned, alluded to, managed to regain their freedom on that unforgettable night in April 2014, and who have heroically defied Boko Haram's dirty antics and evil ideology. They are seated here along with other equally vulnerable girl child victims of conflict and sectarian violence from Kaduna and Plateau states, numbering 34. Ladies and gentlemen, one other painful aspect of the Chibok abduction tragedy was that it exposed my greatest concern, which is the poor quality of our public schools. It is only those who have been in the deepest valley that will appreciate how magnificent it is to be on top of the mountain. Some of the girls actually displayed some grammatical errors, if you know where they are coming from. They deserve a standing ovation. They deserve to be hailed and celebrated. Since 2014, my priority has always been about the rescue of all our abducted girls. But then I live with a huge embarrassment concerning the quality of education provided by public schools in Borno State, as it is a case in many of the other states of northern Nigeria. Dr. Boboy made reference to our days in schools in the 70s and 80s. If not because of our access to Western education, I might be rearing goats, or maybe I might be a Quranic scholar somewhere in Maiduguri, because I'm the son of a Quranic scholar. I'm a first generation graduate of my family. Some were embarrassingly putting on weight when they get to secondary schools. If not for his access to Western education, the Honorable Commissioner of Health, Borno State, is a consultant physician, but he's from the humblest of backgrounds. If not for his access to Western education, he might be tilling the rocky outcrops of New Plateau. The Commissioner for Water Resources, Dr. Mrs. Zainab Gimba, has a PhD. She's from one of the remotest parts of the world. She's from Kala Belge, which is completely inaccessible, the most backward local government in the entire Nigerian Federation. It's because of her access to Western education that she accomplished so much. When I assumed the mantle of leadership, the total amount of money that was spent for the feeding of our students in 76 secondary schools in Borno was a paltry 20 million naira per month. I went to Gamman Girls Secondary School, Maiduguri, Yerwa Gamman Girls Secondary School, Maiduguri. It's a girls' school with a student population of 2,500. I asked the principal, how much were you given for the feeding of the students per month? And she quoted a princely figure of 1.2 million naira. And when I computed, it came to a paltry sum of 5 naira per student per meal, discounting leakages. And 5 naira cannot buy you a sachet of pure water. I went to the hostel, a girls' school. There was no any perimeter fence in the hostel, no doors, no windows, no toilet facilities, and a hostel meant for 20 students was housing 120 students. And the most embarrassing aspect of the whole episode was that in the whole school of 2,500 students, there were only 2 guards. No perimeter fence in the hostel. And in the evening, sugar daddies used to lag behind the fence of the school and wreaking havoc on the lives of these innocent girls. I went to the school cafeteria. I wanted to see what the students are going to be served for breakfast. It was fermented corn They will grind the corn with the husk, ferment it overnight, and the following morning they will just pour hot water. No kosai, no sugar, no milk, no nothing. And this very, very unappetizing so-called kunu is served on the students as breakfast. I was crying. We jacked up because of feeding our students from 20 million to 100 million. And for us in northern Nigeria, we have no option, as I have repeatedly said, than for us to invest in education. It is the greatest game changer. And for us, the elites, we either invest in the poor, or the poor will stop us from sleeping. And the world has changed. The richest countries in the world are not the materially endowed nations. South Korea, Singapore, Japan, they are not materially endowed. South Korea is almost 70% rocky, uninhabitable, unfit for agriculture, but they are one of the richest countries in the world. I want to thank Dr. and Mrs. Marwa. Dr. Marwa is a trained obstetrician gynecologist, a well-regarded crusader for social justice, and a gender activist with a specialized interest in reproductive health, and most importantly, for the purpose of our gathering today, a girl-child education advocate. Apart from her prestigious work as Nigeria's country representative for the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, she is a founder and driving force behind Girls Child Concern, a very credible non-governmental organization. It is this woman of impeccable character and enviable track record that took it upon herself, in spite of her already busy schedule, to partner with the Borno State government to cater for the education and well-being of these innocent and vulnerable victims of the senseless orgy of violence perpetrated by Boko Haram in Borno State. Apart from successfully embarking on school hunting for these girls in Jos and Katsina, she also sourced for funds. I understand from the Malala Fund, to partner with us, they hugely contribute in sponsoring their education. In addition, Dr. Marwa, through the Girl Child Concern, is also sponsoring the education of about 160 indigent orphan girls carefully selected from internally displaced persons camps in Borno State. Of these girls, 120 have been placed in junior and senior secondary schools in Kaduna, while the balance are attending the Imam Malik School in Maiduguri. For the girls schooling in Kaduna, as well as sourcing funds to pay their tuition fees, Dr. Marwa has taken them totally under her wings, as attested to by the principal of the school in Katsina. Thus, during school holidays, except the long vacation, Dr. Marwa accommodates, feeds, and takes care of the other sundry needs of these kids in Kaduna. As for the long vacation, her NGO spends ₦1 million just transporting them to and from Maiduguri. And as if all this is already not hard enough, Dr. Marwa has since intimated me of her NGO's decision and readiness to establish a girls' academy in Maiduguri, exclusively for the education of the poor, vulnerable, and orphan girl child, to be sourced from the IDPs dwelling in the camps and host communities only. It is therefore too obvious that Dr. Marwa is a daughter of Borno, in whom we are well pleased. We have no way of paying her good works except to pray to God to reward her abundantly by giving her good health, wisdom, and the wherewithal to continue her service to humanity, by granting her and all her heart's desires for the rest of her earthly sojourn, and by granting all her efforts with Al-Jannah Firdaus when she eventually departs this world. Needless to say, of course, I beseech all men and women of goodwill to emulate Dr. Mandra's great works and sterling qualities. Invited guests, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I want to give you a word of honor that the Borno State government is ready to strengthen the partnership with and support for Dr. Mandra and her NGO to advance the cause of girl child education and empowerment, as well as other noble pursuits in Borno State. Actually, I'm a feminist. I'm an unabashed feminist. Women and children bore the brunt of madness in Borno. As per official statistics compiled by the World Bank in partnership with the European Union and the presidency, the Boko Haram created 54,911 widows and 52,311 orphans. And these orphans and widows, these are the official figures. Probably the unofficial figures might be twice this amount, this number. The truth, as I have repeatedly said at every opportunity, is that we either take care of these orphans and widows, or 10, 15 years down the line, there will be the Frankenstein monsters that will drive us out of this land. We are the elites. If we go to any of the interiors, some of us are even avoiding going to the inner sanctum of Kano or Maiduguri or Kaduna or Katsina and mix with the common man. There is contempt palpably glaring on their faces. Contempt for us. I can recall an incident that happened to my friend. His wife and driver were driving through Kano City. And some young men came out and broke the windscreen of the car and told them in Hausa that Shogu kuna jindari mumuna wahala. Bastards, you are enjoying, we are suffering. And those young men did not run away. It was my friend's wife and driver that scampered away. And very soon, we'll reach that boiling point unless we wear our thinking caps and work for the people. And the most important yardstick has to do with the quality of governance. There is more to leadership than primitive capital accumulation. No matter how much you steal, beyond a certain point, it's just a number. The lifestyle of somebody with 20 million naira is virtually the same with the lifestyle of somebody with 100 million naira. And at current rate of population growth, at current rate of Nigeria's population growth, by 2020, our population will be 210 million. By 2030, there will be 270 million Nigerians. By 2050, when my brother from Chibok was calling me a young man, I'm 50 years old, so I'm not a young man, and as per UNDP report, the average age of a Borno man is 47. So I've only exceeded my lifespan by 3 years. By 2050, Nigeria will be the third most populous nation on earth, with a population of 440 million. And by the turn of the century, Nigeria will be the most populous nation on earth. And by 2050, 70% of Nigerians will live in northern Nigeria. Now only 53% are living in the north. With desertification, deforestation, endemic poverty, pervasive illiteracy. You don't need a soothsayer to tell you that what awaits us is a fate worse than Boko Haram. Because you cannot divorce, you cannot separate violence from poverty. A hopeless, jobless, ill-clad, ill-educated, ill-paid young man is the most dangerous of animals. But the most important thing, as I said, is the quality of governance. And we owe a duty to posterity for us to wear our thinking caps and work for the people. Create jobs, invest in education, education, education. We have to create a workspace a workspace, a workstation for the 21st century for our youth. 70% of the current jobs will disappear in the next 20 years. Volvo, by the year 2019, Volvo will stop producing fossil fuel powered vehicles. They will go either completely hybrid to electric. So all these are quarreling about oil, and oil will become to Nigeria what coal is to New Customs. There is nothing special about oil. Human resources are the most important of resources, and we need to unite as a people to face our common challenges. It gladdens my heart when it functions. I see Erelu BC Paemi. It gives me great hope for a better tomorrow for this nation, that we are all united by our common heritage of poverty, of destitution, of challenges. It's for us to unite as a people. The masses of Nigeria should know that the elites advocating for restructuring, for Biafra, for all sorts of things, are as divided as a piece of your hand in the pursuit of their individual interests. But once their interests are threatened, they become as united as a piece of your hand. So let the people of Nigeria be united. Let's fight poverty. Let's fight destitution. Let's fight illiteracy. Let's create jobs. Let's create a future for our youth. The future for the black man. I dare to say, the future for the black man rests not with the hard-drinking South Africans. No. It doesn't rest. Sorry, ma. It rests not with the obsequious Kenyans. No. The hope for the black man. 1 out of every 4 black men is a Nigerian. The hope for the black man rests with the people of Nigeria. Ali Masri describes the Igbos as the Nigerian Jews, geographically mobile, economically enterprising, and educationally ambitious. And there is no race in the whole of the black race that are more educated than the Yorubas. Tell me. There is no race as versatile, very few, if any, as versatile as the Hausas. Go to anywhere in West Africa, you must get a Hausa man, just like you will get an Igbo man. So we need to unite as a people to face our common challenges. This is why for the Chibok girls, Chibok is a small community. Chibok is 70% Christian. And this is why we have a moral obligation to cultivate a culture of tolerance and inclusivity. This is why I'm paying undivided attention to the Chibok girls. And I don't even need the media coverage. We'll sit with all of these Chibok girls, even plus the girls that are from Plateau and Kaduna. They are Nigerian citizens. They have a stake in the system. I will go with one of the girls to Kaduna on Friday. I will take her to ABU, seek admission for her at the School of Nursing in ABU, pay for her school bills for the duration of her stay, and we'll do it for each and every one of these girls. I don't even know her name. I don't wish to know. As attested to by Dr. Mayromandra, this is the first time I am knowing the names of the schools. I know Akweme Karambani, the former chairman or something of Chibok, who was going to Josa. I warned him. I said, no, we should grant these poor girls the privacy to have access to Western education without undue distraction. Honestly, I swear in the name of Allah that it's today that I knew the girls went to Bethel International Christian Academy and Ulul Bas in Kassena. Today is the best time I've got to know. I want to thank you all for listening, and may God bless us all. Thank you.